It's Becca Newton from the KBIA Newsroom, and it's time for Missouri on Mic, conversations from Missouri in its 200th year. Lana Dicus spoke with us at the Como 200 celebration on the 4th of July. She's a history teacher who was the Missouri History Teacher of the Year in 2007. She spoke about the width and breadth of Missouri history and some common misconceptions about her state. Here's Lana.
I grew up in California, Missouri, and I still live on the same farm that I grew up on. The cool thing about it is my parents built that home where I live now and remodeled in 1959, and my dad's dad lived there before, but that house burned. And the neat thing is we built a shed, and when we did dirt work, we found an old boot pin with the initial B, which was my maiden name was Bollinger, and I never got to meet my grandparents. They were gone before I was born, and so it's like a connection with what I think was my grandmother. I think of her being out there maybe gathering eggs. It's pretty awesome. I'm the seventh in my family, and four of my five brothers raised their families in the area where I live. So like one time I was headed to school and I had a flat tire. That was before cell phones, and sure enough, one of my nephews came along and fixed my tires for me. The other neat thing is some of my nieces do a lot of trail riding, and they call me and I get to go with them. So I have a lot of relatives that include me in their family activities. It's just a great thing to have so many relatives nearby that I can count on, depend on, and socialize with. And as a teacher, studying the Louisiana Purchase and how Lewis and Clark, what they did going across our state, it really makes you appreciate that we have the history that we do, that we were, one of the St. Genevieve's, one of the oldest states just west of the Mississippi, and having the two rivers run through our state. It just means a lot to me to know the history of the state and talk about the Osage Indians and how they lived and flourished in Missouri. And it makes me kind of sad too for some of that history as well, but it just makes you appreciate what you have a little more when you know what people sacrificed for us to become the state that we are. So as most people know, we had a Netflix show called The Ozarks, and it makes us all look like we're a bunch of hillbillies. That is so unfair. When I taught Missouri history, we have a lot of famous Missourians. So no, we're not all a bunch of hillbillies down here. My dad used to say, people die laying in bed, so get up and work. We're a state of people that have good work ethics. I hope that we continue to be known for hardworking people, but that also we can step out and shoot for other goals, because we're not such a crowded state that there's not room for new business ventures, and there's something for everybody in Missouri.
That was Lana Dicus speaking about some of the varied stories of Missouri history. Missouri on Mic is an oral history and journalism project from Missouri's 200th year. Thanks to Lauren Hines for producing this episode, and the Burney Sisters for providing our music. For more conversations like these, visit kbia.org. I'm Becca Newton. Thanks for listening.